what's up, everybody? It's your boy, your pastor, your rapper, Kingdom Child, and welcome to Present But Clueless. Today, we have decided to visit a counseling psychologist because we're going through a series of wellness and health. And today, we're going to talk about mental health. Mental health is such a big deal, and it's growing rapidly these days. So we want to hear from her. What's her take on mental health? So join us. Karibu sana, Catherine. Maybe introduce yourself to the people and tell us more about yourself.
It's very nice to have you, Susan.
Thank you so much.
My name is Catherine Muriithi. I'm a counselling psychologist. I have practiced for the last over 10 years.
Wow.
And I love what I do. I love being a therapist.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't trade this for anything.
Wow. That's amazing. Wow. Let me just ask you one question. In your job, what is the greatest memory of your work?
I have so many memories.
Yeah.
Which one do I give you? I think one of the ones that comes to mind is having, probably if I may go back a bit, is that apart from being a counselling psychologist, I also run a call center. One of the things that is very memorable is one day having a 5-year-old call the call center seeking therapy. But at that particular point, they were not seeking therapy. I don't even think the mom knew exactly what they were looking for, but they were seeking therapy. And
5-year-old.
5-year-old.
What?
And at that particular point, the child had been bullied in school. The child had gone through so much bullying. But the mother, the only thing they knew was there's some psychologists who are talking to people. Yeah. And I think we need to call them and find out what we can do, what I can do with my son. And so when they called, the child had been bullied.
Wow.
And one of the best things was giving information to the mother, creating awareness about what was happening to this child, and helping the mother go to school to be able to raise it up. Because bullying is one of the things that affects children later on in life. So that is one of my memorable moments.
Now that we're talking about that, I want to ask you what does it mean for you when people say mental health? Because I feel like we talk about mental health, but really the meaning, what is it? Yeah.
Okay. Well, mental health is very wide, but I will just give a very simple definition of what mental health is. And this is according to the World Health Organization. And according to the World Health Organization, mental health is an individual's ability to be able to understand their own potential, their own talents, their own skills. So an individual being able to understand that they have certain abilities means that their mental health is good. Okay. Yeah, that is one. Yeah. If an individual is able to cope with the normal day-to-day stresses of life, life is stressful and every day we're going through stresses. So for somebody being able to cope with the normal day-to-day stresses, then they are aware of their mental health, or it means that their mental health is optimum. Wow. Another thing is, are they able to know how to work with the community around them? Are they able to contribute to their community? Are they able to know that these are street children that need food, they need clothing? Are they aware of the environment around them? And last but not least, are they able to work productively and fruitfully? So it means if they know what their potential is, at the end of the day, are they able to work productively and fruitfully? So that is what I can say in a nutshell mental health is.
Wow. I hear so many people say tie in mental health with emotions. Like depression is a feeling, or I'm feeling depressed. That's what people use. So what can you say about that in terms of emotions and mental health? How does it correlate?
Emotions play a very big role as far as our mental health is concerned. And emotions are varied. It could be, are you feeling happy? Are you feeling sad? How are you feeling?
Yeah.
What emotion can you tie to what is happening on a daily basis, or what's happening to you on a daily basis? So when we're talking about emotions, are you aware of how you're feeling daily? Because how you feel matters.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in an age where how you felt did not matter. If my mother beat me, she told me, let me beat you so that you have reason to cry. Yeah. So my emotions did not matter.
Yeah.
How I felt did not matter. If I felt sad, I'll be beaten and I'll be told, let me beat you so that you can feel sad.
You can feel sad.
It wasn't, why are you feeling sad? What has happened today? And so we grew up not knowing that our feelings matter, and how you feel matters.
Yeah.
Because the way you act, the way you behave, the way you think matters. And it affects how you behave at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So it's important, and I would want to tell people, at the end of the day, find out, how are you feeling? Ask yourself, why am I feeling happy today? What has happened? Did I relate well with my boss? Am I relating well with my spouse? Am I relating well with my children, my colleagues? If you're feeling sad, ask yourself, why am I feeling sad today? Because if you're feeling sad, it matters, because it affects the way you behave. It affects the way you relate with yourself and with the way you relate with others.
So you have to understand your emotions.
It's important to understand your emotions. And at the end of the day, to ask yourself, how am I feeling? How you feel matters, and it's important.
Now, I want to move us on to the causes of mental health. We're living in an age where there's a lot of cases of mental health, people committing suicide, depression, and everything like that. What do you think are the factors? What do you think are the causes? Is it family? Is it society? Is it music? What do you think are some of the causes that?
Okay. When we think about the causes of mental illness, again, they're varied. People are different. And one of the things to ask ourselves is to look at our family history.
Yeah.
Because genes matter. For some people, they have mental illnesses because they are genetically, what's the word?
So you can have maybe like someone in your family in history has that, and then you can most likely get it.
Yes, it's very easy to get it from your family. So if you have a family history of mental illness, if there's
so you can inherit that.
You can inherit it. If there's a history of depression, or say, disorders like, say, bipolar, it's very possible to inherit. So it's important to look at your family history and see, is there a history of mental illness? That could be one of the causes.
So you talked about depression and bipolar. I understand bipolar is, can be, clinical. You can treat it, prescriptions and everything like that. But I don't really understand how depression can be inherited, because we're living in different times. Like your time, you were depressed by other things. Now people are depressed by totally different things. So maybe clarify for me there, like in terms of depression, how is it?
Okay. So depression is a mood disorder. And among mood disorders, I know that's quite technical, but among mood disorders, we have things like bipolar. And it's what we can call a clinical disorder or a mental disorder that needs medication. So that can be inherited. So depending on the family history, there's a history of depression in the family where they have mood disorders, then one can inherit that. And also to add on that, we also have life experiences, things like stress. If there's too much stress in one's life, then that can also be a cause of mental illness. If there are things like there's a history of abuse in the family, especially in early childhood, where children are abused by their parents, and abuse could mean they were neglected. That can also cause mental illness, later on in life. There are other biological factors such as chemical imbalances in the brain that can cause mental illnesses. And if one has a traumatic or has had a traumatic brain injury, that can cause depression. But to go back to what you asked about today, young people say that they're depressed because of probably social media. Social media is also one of the things that has caused a lot of depression, because younger people are not able to balance between what is real and what is not real. So when they look at people's photos on Facebook, on Instagram, and they're talking about how they are living, which may not be true, they're just showing off photos. And so that has also caused a lot of mental illness amongst people who are not able to understand that this is not real. And unfortunately, social media has not been able to help people understand what is real
and what's not,
what is unreal. Where do I draw the balance? And as a result of that, we find many younger people feeling like my parents are not providing enough for me, or this life is not good enough for me. They probably look at other children and think that their life is rolling. And they have a lot of money. They're going for holiday, which may not be true. We don't wake up every day and we have makeup. We don't wake up every day and we're having breakfast. We wake up and we are having a rough day. Why don't we post photos when we're having a rough day? So it's important for people to also understand that everything that you see on social media is not real. And that's why it's important for pastors like you to help people understand that what they always see is not real, and to also create awareness amongst parents, to talk to their children. Yes.
Wow. Now, I know you touched a little bit on family, to say these mental illnesses are inherited by family and everything. But what are some of the influences when it comes to family in terms of mental illness? How can family influence for, let's say, young people or even parents themselves? Because it doesn't leave out anyone. So what is the influence on that?
Family plays a very big role in whether people will inherit mental illnesses or not, or even in just how they are able to deal with mental illnesses. One, do families listen to each other? Do families talk?
Wow.
It's so important for families to sit together, talk to each other, listen to each other, and not judge and criticize each other.
As you're speaking, one of the things that as a youth pastor, the teens say to me the most is, parents don't understand me. They don't understand, they don't listen. And now you're saying that we need to understand and listen to each other, because when we don't do that, like, there's an influence of the child most likely having to go through all this mental health. Wow.
And I also think it's important, even as parents sit together to talk to their children, also to create areas of discipline. I also feel that we have a crop of parents who've not been able to discipline their children. And there's a lot of feeling, let's allow children to be liberal. there's a very thin line between
That's
discipline
yeah.
and mental illness.
Okay.
Sometimes when there isn't firmness and discipline, then it also leads to conduct issues that later on lead to mental illnesses if they are not arrested early. So I would also encourage parents to also become more firm and discipline where they're supposed to discipline, without allowing for, let's just be liberal, let's allow people to do whatever they want to do. I think as Africans, we still draw a lot of our values from knowing that we discipline collectively.
Yes.
We're still a village.
Yes.
And
I think that's the biggest problem right now, because we are no longer a village.
Yes.
You can't hit someone's child.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. So I don't know what the solution can be there, because now it's a problem. I can't just go, if some kid is doing some other messed up thing right there, I can't just go and say, hey, don't do that, because I don't have the authority.
Yeah, and that has caused a lot of issues, because I grew up being disciplined by my mother, my father, my neighbor. Anybody around me would discipline me.
Even the drunkard over there.
Exactly. Yes. He had some values.
Yeah. No, as a youth pastor, I work with a lot of teenagers, and I see some really want to take care of everything. Even their families, even their friends. They just want to take care of, and I feel like they also need to be taken care of. Why does that come about?
Wow. All right. So what you're saying is that you have identified some people who take care of everybody.
Yeah. At first, I thought it was like they're just being hospitable, like they're just have a warm heart, but then it's just in excess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like what you said. You've noticed that it's in excess.
Yeah.
So what happens is that their children. Let me talk about firstborns. It could be a firstborn, or it could be any child, but let me talk mostly about firstborns. Firstborns are given responsibilities very early in life, and they are told you have to take care of your siblings. So they grow up taking care of their siblings. Instead of being a child, they're taking care of other children. Some of the same firstborns, and it's not necessarily a firstborn, it could be any child, can be given that responsibility. There's some children who take on responsibilities of taking care of probably a mother who's unwell, or taking care of their parents. So they're given responsibilities that they're not supposed to be handling at a certain age. And so they miss out a stage of being taken care of, because they're also children. And so they grow up with this persona of feeling that they have to take care of everybody else. We call them parentified children in counseling. However, what that means is they just want to take care of other people, even when they do not have the capacity to do so. And even if they do, they overdo it. And so it's important for parents to know that do not give your children responsibilities that they should not be handling at a certain age. Allow your children to just grow up as children. Sometimes children take up the role of uniting parents who are having issues in that family. So they're the ones who are always mediating. So instead of enjoying their childhood, they are there always listening. Is dad and mom having a fight? How do I come in to try and mediate? And so they grow up with this feeling that they have to take care of everybody else.
Wow. What's the risk in that? Like for the child specifically, what's the risk in doing that?
The risk in that is that this person always takes care of other people. They never know when they need to take care of themselves, and they never know when they need to stop. So that even their own children they're not able to allow their children to grow up, to become responsible, to think on their own.
On their own, yeah.
Yeah, they're given a program.
So the ones that hold on to their kids up until they're like,
Exactly.
their kids are 35.
They're 40, but they're still at
They're
home
still in the house.
because they're still children. Yeah. So the risk of that is also parents doing everything for their children. Children need to be allowed to grow. Children need to be allowed to make mistakes.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with
face
child
challenges.
making. Yes, to face challenges in life, and to know, if I go through this challenge, how do I overcome it?
Wow.
There's nothing wrong with coming to seek advice from their parents, but allow them to make their own independent decisions.
Wow. Hey, I like that because, people, I think that can also tie in with the mental illness, because you're constantly taking care of someone, and sometimes I see people going out of their way, like maybe someone has a debt, they actually get into debt to solve someone's debt.
Absolutely, you have said it. You have actually said it. There are very many people today who are in debt because they are always taking care of people who should be taking care of themselves. They are paying rent for people who should be paying their own rent. They are helping people, they are carrying people on their shoulders who are supposed to be taking care of themselves. They are taking the burden of families, yet they should be taking care of those families.
Yeah.
And I've seen that a lot in therapy, where you find couples who are not able to take care of themselves even when they have the resources, because they are so used to being taken care of by others.
Yeah.
They probably have parents who are still taking care of them, who are still paying their bills. They can't get jobs because they believe that their parents will give them an allowance at the end of the month. They can't pay school fees for their children because they still believe that their parents will write the check. And so these people end up not growing, and they end up having a lot of issues in their relationships.
Wow, I mean, that's interesting. I want us to focus on suicide. I think it's also a big result of mental health. And during the pandemic, we have seen there are so many cases of suicide among teenagers. Why is that so? How does mental health result into suicide?
Okay. Yes, like you're saying, we've seen a lot of teen suicides of late, and if I may just explain what suicide is, or what teen suicide is, we can say that it is when a teen causes his or her own death on purpose. Before trying to commit suicide or to take away their life, they probably have had suicidal ideations. They have had thoughts about wanting to die. This is called suicidal ideation.
So this is just ideas of them being dead.
Yes.
Like, so they just imagine them dead.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
That's creepy, yeah?
Yes.
You can also say it's called suicidal behavior. They have suicidal behavior.
Yeah.
They are focused on doing things that cause their own death. Can I repeat that again?
So they are focused on doing things that would eventually cause their own death. So they intentionally maybe like just walk, just cross the road carelessly.
Yes. It could be that. It could be drinking things that they know are harmful.
Yeah.
Because they know if they take an overdose of whatever it is that they're taking, could be things like sleeping pills. They will know that will cause their death. So they are doing things that they know would cause their death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But where does it start? Is it gradual, or it's like, because I mean, like when you're talking about sleeping pills and drugs and just doing things that it's like hinting themselves to say, this is what I want to do, but I feel like there's a part where they're scared of doing it. So why is it that it's just not as direct as, you know, just hanging yourself and dying, but it starts like pole pole, how?
Yeah. I think naturally, as human beings, we want to preserve life.
Yes.
And that's why if you were crossing the road and you knew a car was going to hit you, will take off.
Yeah.
Because the natural thing is to want to be alive.
Yeah.
But by the time somebody wants to die, they've had probably issues that are making them feel that this life is not worth living. And so they may be doing things sometimes wanting to draw attention to the issue that they have.
Yeah.
So they may not per se be wanting to die. But in as much as they want to die, they are also trying to draw attention. Zuze, my parents are divorcing and I want to die because I cannot live with my dad and my mom divorced.
Wow.
So they really do not want to die, but they want to ask Pastor Zuze, how can you intervene in this situation that is making me feel that my life will fall apart?
So they don't really tell you directly to say, I'm depressed, my parents want to divorce and everything like that, but they just do things that are careless. And it's for me as a pastor to identify those things and see there's an issue behind just them drinking so much or sleeping around or doing all these things.
Yeah.
So they're just drawing attention to themselves to say, I should get into their issues.
Some are drawing attention. For some, you may not even be able to tell that they want to commit suicide. There are some people who are able to mask it so well. Yeah. They could be the life of the party. But even in as much as they are the life of the party, then the question to ask is, what is it that they're trying to hide? Are there things that they're trying to mask by showing the world that they're the life of the party, or trying to draw people to certain fun activities or fun things which could be masking the pain that they have? And that's why it's important for people to have open conversations. You know, as a youth pastor, you know, when you sit with the youth to find out, let's be real, what are the things that are happening in your life? I see that you're very, and you know, we really appreciate the way you take up to creating fun activities when we need to do something for the youth. But I want us to be real. What is happening in your life? Let's be real.
Catherine, thank you so much, because I feel like as pastors, you know, we just go straight to, you need Jesus.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what we do. We just like, hey, you are partying every night. Every night you're out. Every night you're drinking. You need Jesus. You need deliverance. You need all these things. But you have helped me so much to understand that there's a place where you start from, digging deep into the issue and seeing what's behind all those things they're masking with. Wow.
Yeah, and one of the things, and you've said it, is if, for instance, somebody came to church every Sunday.
Yes.
Nowadays we're having virtual sessions, but if everybody came to church every Sunday, then you notice this particular person has been coming to church drunk.
Yeah.
What do? We condemn them.
Yeah.
Rather than find out what has changed. Something has changed. What is happening in their life that has made them start drinking?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where now care happens. This person feels somebody cares for me. Come as you are. You may be high, but I still care for you.
Yeah.
Let's know what's happening. And that's a way of trying to find out what's happening, seeing what's different in somebody's life.
Yeah.
You know, leading towards wanting to commit suicide. For instance, if you noticed that somebody was very careful about how they looked, they were always hitting the gym, eating very well, then all of a sudden they want to eat junk, then there is a question mark.
Wow.
What has happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those changes.
What are these changes? This person no longer cares about how they look
anymore.
Whether they put on weight or not. But what do? We condemn people. We say, oh, you've put on so much weight, without trying to understand what's happening in their life.
Wow.
Again, some people lose too much weight. All of a sudden, this person has lost so much weight, a significant amount of weight. The question is, what is causing this person to lose weight? So those are some of the things that we can look at. Somebody has stopped concentrating in the things that they used to concentrate about. If you notice changes in their mood, if you notice that they're not able to concentrate on their work, if you give them a task to do and they cannot concentrate, all these are telltale signs that something is wrong.
Something is wrong. Oh.
Yes.
I see. Now, you've talked about, I know you've talked about pastors as pastors, but sometimes it's within the family. And worst case scenario, it's the family that's causing this child to be depressed or to go through this mental illness that they're going through. Now, how do you redeem that situation? Because as pastors, I feel like we can do what we can, but if they're going back to the problem, then it becomes difficult even for us. So what would you advise parents? What environment should they create to be aware of their child's mental health? Yeah.
I think it's important for parents, first and foremost, to know that they have a God-given responsibility to take care of their children, and they need to know that their mental health matters a lot. They need to ask themselves, have I created an environment for my child to grow up well? It's important for parents to ask themselves, what do I do on a day-to-day basis? Unfortunately, parents have become so busy looking for wealth, looking for money, trying to take their children to
nice schools,
to great schools, but they have forgotten that sometimes what children want is to know that mommy and daddy are at home, they can listen to me, and they are available anytime I need them. So many times parents leave home at the crack of dawn.
Yes.
They don't know what time the children go to school, what happens in school. They come back when their children are asleep. Or even if they don't come back when they're asleep, they have no time for any conversations. It's, did you do, or what haven't you done? And as a result, children feel left alone. So I'd encourage parents, relook and redefine your role as a parent. Look at your children and ask yourself, what is my child's purpose? Are they fulfilling their purpose? And am I helping my child fulfill that purpose? Fulfill their God-ordained purpose? So that children can know that they have a safe space at home. And they're safe with their parents. And that parents have created that environment. The other thing is, let us also be each other's keeper. Let us look out for each other. As friends, when we notice that something is wrong with a friend, let's not condemn. Let's be there for them. Let's encourage them to talk about it. Let's encourage them to talk to a pastor. Let's encourage them to talk to somebody who they feel safe, who can listen to them. So that teens can be able to tell and can feel secure and know that they have a listening ear around them. And it goes back to what I said earlier on. Let's be that community for our teens. Yes.
All right. Now, I know we've spoken about the family and the parents, but maybe a teen is watching and like, hey, I think I'm depressed. Or I have these signs and symptoms. I just don't understand this mental health thing. So how how can you make them aware that this is how it starts and how this is how you can prevent if you see these symptoms, if you see that you're doing this, you're headed towards that direction, so this is what you need to do. Like, in a nutshell, how can you just advise the teen themselves?
So let me start with some of the warning signs,
Yeah.
And some of the warning signs of suicide are also symptoms of depression, more or less.
Yes.
So if a teenager or an adult notices changes in eating patterns, eating and sleeping patterns, are they eating too much or are they eating too little? That could be a warning sign.
As you're speaking, me, I'm also evaluating myself.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And when it comes to eating too much, there are times when you're eating because you're eating too much and you do not need the food. There's just a general need to eat, and especially to eat junk, or to eat anything. Yeah. So either eating too much or not eating.
Not eating at all.
And that goes also with sleeping. Sleeping too much or undersleeping. So somebody who used to sleep for 8 hours, which is the recommended hours, wants to sleep the whole day. They slept at night and they want to sleep the whole day. Or somebody is not able to sleep at all.
This thing, like binge watching stuff.
Yes. Another one is loss of interest in normal activities. So somebody who's interested in normal activities, being part of the family, going out with friends, they're no longer interested in any family activities. They just want to stay in their room. That's another warning sign. That's another sign, yeah?
But they have a name for it,
What's the name?
Me time, alone time.
Yes. There's me time. Every one of us knows me time can only be done for so long.
Yeah, that's true.
When it's extended for long periods of time, it's no longer me time. It's more, I've lost interest in family and in friends. So again, they withdraw from family and friends. When you're spending so much time, me time, then it means you withdraw away from family and friends. Yeah, that's another one sign. An increase in alcohol and drug use could be another sign. Yeah. Then if you see unnecessary risk taking.
Wow.
Teenagers are risk takers.
Yeah, there's a thin line there.
Yeah. But when you see it's unnecessary risk taking, then that's a warning sign. And you can tell this person is doing things that are very risky and it's unnecessary. That can be another warning sign. Yeah. Have they lost interest in schoolwork?
Yeah.
Are they always bored? They're not interested in school activities. They're not interested in their schoolwork. They have problems focusing. They cannot focus on one thing. Yeah. Do they have feelings of wanting to die? Yeah. And they just feel, I just want to die. Like I said earlier on, nobody wants to die.
Yeah.
Generally, people want to live.
Yeah.
Right now, if we saw a lion enter through that room, I will jump out of that window. Yeah, because I don't want to die. That's the normal thing.
Yeah.
Even children self-preserve.
Yeah.
When a child sees danger, they know this is danger because they don't want to die. So if you hear a teenager always wanting to die, then that's a warning sign. Supposing you also realize that there's no response to praise. Every time you affirm them, you praise them, there's no response to that. They are very self-critical. That can also be a warning sign because generally people respond to praise. Yeah. Another thing is if a teenager is always saying, I won't be a problem much longer, or if anything happens to me, I want you to know, that's another warning sign. If you actually also notice that your teen is giving away their favorite things, teenagers are very possessive of their things, but all of a sudden they are giving away their prized possessions.
That's a warning sign.
It's a warning sign.
To us pastors, it's a sign of generosity. That means the word is working.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's generosity, and there's also I don't need my
Oh, I
phone.
no longer
I
care.
don't need my shoes.
Yeah.
I don't need things that.
So it's like abnormal. Like you're wondering why would you give that out? All very sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then if you suddenly notice that a teenager has become very cheerful after being depressed, it's also one sign. Yeah. If they've been going through a slump, then all of a sudden they're very cheerful, then that's a warning sign.
Oh.
So how can we prevent teenagers? What are some of the things that we need to look out as pastors or even as parents? One, like I said, it's very important for your teenager to feel supported, to feel that they can be listened to.
Yeah.
Try not to offer undue criticism to teenagers, and stay connected to them as much as possible. Yeah. If you notice that they have any mental illnesses, try and seek help. If you notice that they're taking too much alcohol, substances, see how you can receive help for them. Wow.
Thank you so much, Catherine. That was so much insightful. I believe you guys have learned a lot. I just want you to give one parting shot on this whole conversation of mental health. What is your parting shot?
There is no health without mental health. Your mental health matters. Take care of your mental health.
Wow. There is no health without mental health. Your mental health matters. So take care of it. Like your life depends on it. Alright guys, I believe you guys have learned a lot. And if you're a parent watching this, I believe that now you are aware of the signs and symptoms and how you can prevent your teenager from heading that direction or getting to that space where they're having suicidal thoughts and stuff. And also for the teenagers that are watching, I believe you have seen the symptoms of how this thing can start. So if just take a pen and paper, based on what she has said, evaluate your life and see, am I sleeping too much or am I eating a lot of junk, stuff like that, so that you can know where you're at when it comes to your mental health. So thank you very much. Next time we'll be talking about clinical health, and Paulette will be taking us through that conversation with a doctor. I will not mention the name. So you guys stay tuned, keep it locked, subscribe to this channel, like, share, comment, because your mental health depends on it. Awesome.